Chef Poutine is out, and that is because it is deal time, and quite a few of them, November being the month for deals with Black Friday. And the first one that I have is a pretty good one. If you held off on purchasing a Pixel 7a, but were still interested, your patience has been rewarded. The early Black Friday deal for Best Buy. Link will be in the description. You use those links. It directly helps the channel, so I do encourage that. $375 for a brand new Pixel 7a. And I had my misgivings with this device when it was first released. We're going to go over those because some of those have been addressed. But for $375, there's a few things and a few shortcomings on this device that I could absolutely overlook, because at that price range, this becomes an absolute monster and one that you're going to want to pick up. At first, when this phone was released, I had a few different problems. Number one was the mobile connectivity. If you have T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T in some areas, you're not going to experience this. I had no problem with T-Mobile. My AT&T was a little spotty, even more spotty than my Pixel 7 Pro. So if you're somebody who's had weakness with these modems before, just buyer beware, test before you go ahead and get out of that return policy period, because you might regret it. Second thing, battery life was a huge problem on this device when I first got it. That was paired a little bit with slight overheating, not anything burning, but just a little bit warmer than you thought it should be. Android 14 has corrected those problems, and it did across the board. The Pixel Fold is a lot better on Android 14 in terms of battery life and heat. There's a lot of Pixel devices that had a Tensor 2 in them that are significantly better on Android 14, and that kind of goes with Google's MO. They did the same thing with the first generation Tensor on the Pixel 6. First year or so, a little bit of growing pains, but then once the updates started rolling in and you got to about the year point, it really started to come into its own. And the same with the Tensor 2, and you get that benefit here in the Pixel 7a. So let's talk about what you do get. Screen, not the brightest in the world, still going to be a pixel display before the Super Actua and all the stuff that they've come up with on the Pixel 8 series. It's a little bit more saturated than your Pixel 6, so if that's something that you're Pixel 6a, so if that's something that you're looking to upgrade from, I wouldn't recommend trading in the Pixel 6a. Best Buy is only going to give you $100, I guess, because they figure the sale is already pretty good on this, so you might want to hold off, sell it privately, or wait until next year. But if you're coming from a device like that, that's what you're going to notice. Otherwise, decent display, no problem. Get the higher refresh rate. RAM is good, 8 gigs of RAM in this category, sub $400. That's pretty impressive. The build is significantly better than some of the devices that you'll get. Yeah, you got the plastic back, but you do have the nice metal frame. Wireless charge that everybody jumped up and down about when this device first came out. You picked that up on the Pixel 7a. And of course, if you're considering one of these devices, it's all going to be about that camera. And you do get a fantastic Pixel camera with all the AI goodies that Google puts in there and the computational photography. And at $499, you know, Google was kind of going through a transition with their product lineup. Pricing increased a little bit, so this then became the sensible Pixel at $499. But at $375, it completely reframes the light that you got to look at this device in. It completely changes everything. At $499, you got to be a little bit more critical of this device. But at $375, given what's out there, the fact that you could get something this competent, this snappy, with these kind of updates, you're not getting those 7 years of updates, but you're still getting a decent amount of updates, whatever they commit now to. I think it's 4 years on these devices. So that's something that you're going to get. So it's not the 7 years you get on the Pixel 8, but you'll still be doing pretty well with the Pixel 7a. I just love the performance. I mean, you can say what you want about Tensor not benchmarking as well as some of the Snapdragon equivalents, but once they kind of corral that heating issue, get the battery life in line, you'd be hard-pressed in this price range to find something that's going to be this snappy, because you are getting flagship-esque performance in this price range. And you look around at the landscape and what you get from other manufacturers at $375, you're talking Moto just released a Moto Edge. That's got a Dimensity 7030 in it, and that's for $500. You got the Samsung Galaxy A54, that I happen to like, but people jump up and down because it's an Exynos 1380 at around the same price range. That's a little cheaper now, but you're talking still in the $300 area and range. At $375, this becomes the phone that tops all the other devices that you're going to find in that range. It becomes really impressive and a complete package in a hurry. Then you add in all the AI stuff that you get with Tensor, all the Google Pixel feature drops that are going to be coming to this device, the call screening, all the other stuff that will eventually trickle down, enhanced call screening, all the other cool stuff that they got going on. Video zoom, maybe some of those things, enhance, all those, a magic eraser you're going to have, but maybe all those other things that they think, the magic editor and stuff like that, will eventually trickle down to this device. You got to think the Tensor 2 is strong enough, so you got a bright future with this in terms of Pixel feature drops. There's a lot of cool stuff on here already. Now playing, all those Pixel favorites that you get from Google are here. So when you add all that up, then you add the improvements spec-wise that they made to this device, the extra RAM, beefed up build quality of the thing, it really becomes an attractive package at $375. So if you go ahead, Best Buy, early Best Buy Black Friday sale, link will be in the description. Really good. And that's why pricing, this is what we talk about a lot on this channel. Pricing is so darn important. Face unlock works great. Fingerprint sensor on this one works good. Pricing is so darn important because if you looked at this device, if you just knock this a little bit more expensive, just push it up into another price zone, it completely changes my outlook on it. Bring it down here, then those negatives kind of don't seem so big anymore. Because you look around at the landscape and notice that other companies are lacking in significant areas. Areas that you're going to feel. Areas that you're going to care about. User experience areas. Front end stuff. Whereas when you get this at $375 and you notice that you're going to chew through most of the stuff that you want to do without a problem. You're going to get higher end gaming performance than you're used to in this price range. You're going to get the higher refresh rate. It's still an OLED. Still looks beautiful. Performance is still great. You're going to get performance for a few years since Google does a lot with AI and the optimizations of Android 14 to Tensor chips. So you're going to get all those benefits in there as well. And when you think you're going to wrap that all up with the camera that everybody loves, that everybody crows about, when you put that with the camera, you get the modern design language. I love the coral. A lot of people like the sky, but I like the coral color on this device. When you put all that together for an attractive package, $375 becomes the price point that you want to get this at. Even over, so a lot of the phones I like the A54. If it comes down to it, and your A54 versus 7A in the $300 price range, which is less than a $50 difference between the two, it starts to become a conversation again. And when I first did my comparison of those two devices, I said, hold off, because the price difference I don't think was worth a lot of what Google was offering over the A54, and there were plenty of areas where I think the A54 was better. Display being one of them. It's a much better panel. You get the micro SD card expandable storage, better speakers, One UI, which I think could be better at times. So there's a lot of different advantages that the A54 had. And if you still highlight those, then go ahead and pick that device up. But if you were saying, you know what, the Samsung isn't for me, you're crying about the processor that they put in there, the 6 gigs of RAM wasn't enough, then with $375, this becomes a very, very, very competitive phone. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.